as we get interactive on the program. All right, now before we move on to international sport, we did have Morgan that had a thing or two to say concerning you, Andrew. How do you respond to him? He says you're not objective.
Yeah. He
You
says
know,
I'm not objective.
he's not convinced with what you've said in the first hour on this matter. What do you take? What do you make of what he said?
First of all, I don't think it's right for me to respond like directly to Morgan, because Morgan is our fervent listener, so I don't want him and me to have a tiff. Yeah. So I won't respond like directly to him, but all I can say is that I have tried my best to be objective. I always research my work when I'm coming on set, and what I bring out, I believe, is always objective and the best way to handle, in my opinion, a particular situation. And even in this case, I have simply encouraged the Minister Mlenga in so many ways. And I also referred to the fact that he had press conferences over things that he pronounced that he did not do. And that's why I'm encouraging Minister Mlenga to say, Mr. Mlenga, can you please lead us? That's all I'm doing. And those press conferences, they are there on Minister Mlenga's Facebook page. So I'm encouraging Morgan to go and read, and see for himself that when I'm talking to Minister Mlenga, I actually mean well, because I would like Minister Mlenga to be above board. I would like Minister Mlenga to deliver. I would like Minister Mlenga to embrace all of us, because he's our minister, he's our leader, and that's what I'm encouraging him. And as far as sport is concerned, he's a very strategic person and very, very important to the success of the sport in this country. That's why I'm encouraging him. I would like him to succeed, because when he succeeds, it is Zambia that succeeds, And also, the appointing authority will be happy, because he will know that he had put the correct person in that position. So it's a whole chain, and that's why I'm encouraging Minister Mlenga, because him as a leader, he has a very, very important role to play to make sure that our game succeeds. So on the Hot FM interview that you referred to, it's a while ago, and there were quite a number of us who sat in the studio. For him to single me out, I feel very, very disappointed. Not bad, but disappointed, because there were a number of us who spoke, and we literally sang the same song. So it becomes a little bit difficult if you are singled out, because all of us spoke and all of us sang basically the same song. And if Morgan can refer back to that interview, I'm sure it's still there on Facebook, isn't it, Lawrence? Yes, he should refer to that interview and go and hear what we all said. There were quite a number of us in here. So I can encourage Morgan to say, we are in the public domain, and as we are in the public domain, let us research. When we come and speak, let us speak things that people will be able to relate to, and people will be saying, yeah, these things that are coming out are actually facts. So that's what I can say, really. I believe I'm quite objective. I believe I don't take sides. I believe that I speak according to the way things are. So me being not being objective as far as Morgan is concerned, well, I will leave it to him to continue listening to me and later on come and judge what I say.
Okay. All right. Let me get on to now talk about the UEFA Champions League quarterfinal draw right on the program. It was actually yesterday noon, and we'll pick it up with the Zamjirian on this one. We do have the quarterfinal set, but there's a round of 16. There's a round of 16 that hasn't yet been decided. There are a few round of 16 ties that haven't yet been decided. One has to do between Real Madrid and Manchester City. Real are trailing Manchester City by 2-1. So Real have to go to Manchester City in the second leg of that tie, because at El Bernabeu, Real succumbed 2-1 to Manchester City. So now it's either Man City or Real to actually make it through to the quarterfinal. And then there's another game that is yet to be concluded. That's between Olympique Lyonnais and Juventus. Another one yet to be concluded is between Chelsea and Bayern Munich. Chelsea trail Bayern Munich by 3-0 from Stamford Bridge, and then they're going to Germany. And then the other one we have Napoli playing Barcelona.
Yeah.
So now here are the ties. Quarterfinal one is either Real Madrid or Manchester City to play either Olympic Lyonnais or Juventus. All right. The quarterfinal two has Red Bull Leipzig confirmed quarterfinalists against Atletico de Madrid, another confirmed quarterfinalist. Quarterfinal three, all right, does involve either Napoli or FC Barcelona to play. I know the two between Chelsea and Bayern Munich. All right, then the other one, it's that's quarterfinal four, Atalanta Bergamasca versus Paris Saint-Germain. So these are the games. Now, Mr. Zamjirian,
Yes, sir.
from the four, which one do you really feel could just be the top of the pile? Which game you really anticipate to look forward to before we get into the technicalities of this?
I'm going to surprise you guys.
Please surprise us. We love surprises.
The most interesting game from all the fixtures we have seen is Atalanta PSG.
Atalanta Bergamasca.
Atalanta is going to shock so many people. People who have
They've been playing amazing football this
the
season.
Farmers League. But listen, when I have sat down to watch Atalanta play football, they are absolutely immense.
Amazing.
They don't stop coming. Atalanta can score 5 goals and they want to score 7.
Yeah.
So you're playing against the PSG side with also very, solid attacking prowess. But you need to keep in mind that the French league hasn't resumed yet. So how fit are these players? How are they coming into the August, Champions League? How is it looking for them? So, not having game time, facing an Atalanta side that is currently on form, on road to probably qualify for the Champions League again next season. They're beating everybody on their path. They're playing Juventus very soon, and I'm scared for Juventus because it looks like Atalanta has the edge. They're that good. So those are my pick for the fixtures. But now we still have, very interesting games as Juventus might nick a win against Lyon because obviously they go down in Lyon's home. But we can get the fixture that we have always wanted for a very long while: the return of the king, Ronaldo going back to Real Madrid.
Yeah, because there's all possibility that Ronaldo might face his old team Real.
Exactly. If Real Madrid can conquer Manchester City. Now, like I said, Manchester City is also in the form of their life, but they have very bad defensive frailties. And it looks like if Real Madrid continue the form they're playing in, Ramos and all these guys being on top form, Benzema playing out of his mind, he can find a way to win against Manchester City. And by God's grace, I can sit down in my home and watch Juventus Real Madrid, the tie of the Champions
And by the way, you're a Juventus fan.
Yes. By the way, you guys should know that I'm a Cristiano Ronaldo fan. So wherever he goes, if he plays for Zesco United, just know that
if he signed for Atalanta Bergamasca,
I'm
you'll be
Atalanta
supporting
fan,
him.
100%. That's my life. I've followed Ronaldo since he was, in Sporting. When he went to Man United, I became the biggest fan in the world. So I've been following him, and that's why I'm partly a Real Madrid fan as well. So yeah, this is one of the most exciting Champions League fixtures, and I'm happy that they gave the leagues time to finish. So leagues will conclude, and when we get into August, we'll all now settle and focus on the Champions League. Also, we can't leave out Barcelona against Napoli. Very interesting tie. I think it's still 1-1, a draw. And it looks like Barcelona isn't in great form. Napoli also looking like they might nick a win against Barcelona. They're doing very well in the Serie A. And they could face up against the Chelsea side in very, very great form. But I'm sorry, Bayern Munich already scored 3 goals on the Stamford Bridge, and you are not going to Germany to outscore Bayern Munich. I'm sorry, you can score 3 goals, but Bayern is probably going to score 5. That's how formidable the Bayern side are. And obviously, for me personally, Bayern currently have the best player in the world in Robert Lewandowski. He's been, for me, the best player this season, scoring out of his mind. He's broken all the kind of records that can be broken. And if he doesn't win the Ballon d'Or this season, he's robbed, I think Chelsea need to find the second gear at Bayern's home. If at any point in time they're going to come out of that tie victorious. So this is one of the most interesting Champions League ties, like I said, we have seen in a very, very long while. And finally, Atletico Madrid will be facing Leipzig, who made Moreno's hair grey again.
Mhm.
It's looking like well, let's put Moreno's conversation for another time. But Atletico Madrid are going to face a very formidable Leipzig side, and they should not underestimate how good those players are. Very young, very fresh. I know when I won't be playing because he has confirmed the move to Chelsea, so he has to fall out if he wants to compete in the Champions League next season with Chelsea. So he won't be playing for Leipzig. I think that's a positive sign for Atletico Madrid. But Atletico Madrid, remember, they also beat Liverpool out of the Champions League, the defending champions. And it looks like it's going to be very, very interesting this coming August.
Awesome. All right. Andrew, Real Madrid versus Manchester City, or Olympic Lyonnais versus Juventus, Atletico de Madrid against RB Leipzig, Napoli, or Barcelona against Chelsea or Bayern Munich, and Paris Saint-Germain against Atalanta Bergamasca. What a quarterfinal amid COVID-19.
It's actually, all the games are actually mouth-watering. They are great games. Manchester City against Real Madrid. Well, Manchester City are, to me, I can say they are not. They are not the Manchester City that we know. They are actually limping a little bit, and Real Madrid has picked up form quite well, and they are doing extremely well all the way from the back line into the striking force. I mean, Real Madrid look very, very dangerous, and it will be a very interesting game to see who carries the day. But it looks like Real Madrid have got a slight edge over Manchester City. But these games. It's okay. These games, you see, at the end of it all, it's the way a team picks up on the day of the game, and to see which one is feels like they want it most, will actually prepare adequately and go out there and get the get a positive result. But Real Madrid have a slight edge over Manchester City if we go with the current form.
Okay. Yeah. All right. We've been joined
in the league in the respective leagues.
Yeah.
All right. We've been joined by Mfundisi, who actually has been driving like Lewis Hamilton from Chongwe. All right. Luckily, he didn't beat any traffic. He didn't break any traffic rules or regulations. Because I can't remember seeing the traffic cameras there or speed traps on that road. So that worked to our advantage. Otherwise, this man wouldn't have made it for the show.
Well, I'll tell you something. Firstly, massive, apologies for coming in very late. Indeed, he called me when I was in Chongwe, and I said I will definitely be back. I'll be coming back. Doing some bit of peasant farming, if you like. But then there are a lot of cameras on the road, particularly after the RDA checkpoint, where the way bridge, so to speak, the toll gate. Immediately after that, you find the police are just so you have to watch your speed. But
last time I was in Chongwe, maybe it was a Sunday because it was a Sunday. But I shouldn't be saying this. They'll come knocking on my door.
They'll knock on your door, and to be honest with you, with the traffic police, there's nothing like Sunday or whatever time you're gonna find them. But it's also for your own good that you drive in the right sort of speeds.
Yes.
The road
should be 120, I think, outside.
80. 80 maximum on Zambian roads is 80.
Even in the bush.
Well, I think 120.
120
in certain stretches. In certain stretches, but you can't go beyond that.
Yeah.
But I'm grateful. Particularly, there's been a lot. First, I'm sure you talked about the done deals and so on, which is a good thing. In the first place, we should not even have gone this particular route.
In the first place.
Precisely. We created our own problems, where now you have a FIFA noose around your neck, and that's where now you begin to do the right thing. They are even counting days. Brother Emmanuel, they are waiting for you to resolve. I think that Zambia now is being known on the world stage for going to FIFA over wrangling instead of taking football teams for tournaments, which is a shame. It's a shame.
We even envy the Zambian. He's watched his country at the World Cup before.
Precisely. non-issues.
Yeah.
You are fighting over non-issues instead of fighting together to see how you can go and compete with Nigeria at the World Cup. It's a shame. It's
And
embarrassing.
Algeria.
It's extremely embarrassing that you could even have headlines, done deal, just in, and so on. Let's have headlines that will say Zambia goes to the World Cup. This is why we're here, isn't it?
Yes.
That we may enjoy the beautiful game. Even when we go into talking about Real Madrid or Tuamba Kulanda Kikongole, it's because of the excitement that is in the game. The brotherhood that we enjoy is because of the game. And you can fight not in the boardroom, but on the pitch. Because what is happening now really takes away from concentration on the pitch. For example, look at the coaching conundrum. Mitchell, up to now, we hear he hasn't officially
signed.
Precisely.
On the dotted line.
Precisely, and is only getting half pay up to now.
Up to now.
Coming from the Football Association of Zambia. Zinango za Jama. You understand? And if you remember, there was a time when there was another guy, was it Vaseline, who should have come in before we were battered in North Africa. But again, there was a lot of wrangling and so on. You couldn't get, so you can never succeed. A house that is divided against itself can never succeed. Even if you want me as Chibulu Musonda to be the next president of us, as long as there is fighting, there's nowhere where we can go. So I hope that now that people have signed ceasefire notes and whatever it is, when FIFA comes to convene that particular meeting, we'll have the same sort of understanding whichever way they are going to rule.
Exactly.
We do not want to see a situation where, because I am on this side and they rule against me, then again I start doing other things. Because it's embarrassing, like I said, a country of our magnitude and the way we love football should not be going to FIFA to resolve matters. You remember it was here on Backpage when we had that Zurich meeting again years ago, isn't it?
Yes.
On Backpage again. How many years ago? Like 9 years? 8 years ago?
No, about 2010, 2011.
Precisely. You had those issues again. It was Zambia going to FIFA. Again, the same names to FIFA. Others in that same period have been to the World Cup twice. Are we not ashamed? We should be ashamed as a nation. Leaders will come and go, but put Zambia first before anything else. I thought that should be said. Should we hear anybody after FIFA comes, Manjo, we will be very direct. Of late, you've been saying, let's not be talking about these things. Let's not be attacking individuals. That's the spirit. We want to build a Zambia that is inclusive. But the moment you begin to take, sides and wanting to push certain agendas at some point, I can't stand to Chema clubs, man. For the sake of our nation. There are people who died fighting for the independence of Zambia, and we cannot be careless in the way we handle national matters. So kudos to the Ministry of Sports, kudos to the warring parties, kudos to the Football Association of Zambia. Let's move forward. When FIFA comes, let's have a more mature way of handling our issues. I would rather we are talking about taking Zambia to the World Cup, FIFA World Cup, rather than taking Zambia every time to FIFA for dispute resolution.
Okay, all right. Let me have you comment on the UEFA Champions League draws that did happen. Your impressions on the same, basically. I know there's no Manchester United.
Oh, but there's Manchester United in the Europa.
Thank you.
And that's a route for next season's Champions League, by the way.
Thank you very much.
So we must make it very clear that at present the league has already been won by Liverpool. Congratulations to them. Manchester United in 5th position. And by the way, on Monday at 09:30 hours, there will be a ruling by the Court of Arbitration for Sport. Court of Arbitration for Sport. Ngana upanga mistake, they will tell you. They will even fine you. They will tell you, can you pay for this and that? Court for Arbitration for Sport. So on Monday, Man City's case is coming up for resolution. I mean, for announcement or ruling, announcement of the ruling. I'm sure they are already sitting and so on, and the position is already probably known by now. But on Monday, they will be telling the rest of the world or the rest of Europe, what the outcome of Man City's appeal against their 2-year ban from European football would be. And if Manchester City, before we talk about my reaction in terms of the draw, if the ruling is upheld that they are 2 seasons away from European football, it means that those who are in the top 5, Manchester United, Leicester City, and Chelsea, they will be celebrating already because United and Leicester City, there's only 1 point. Then United and Chelsea, there are 3 points. So all of those 3 teams are still in the fight in case Manchester City win their case at the Court of Arbitration for Sport. Now, in terms of the Champions League, I think that the Zamgirian did say last weekend here that Pep Guardiola's holy grail, if you like, is a Champions League. He was appointed not necessarily to win the league. They wanted to go a bit further, be a dominant force in Europe, Manchester City. So they'll be looking, particularly if on Monday the ruling does not go their way, they'll be looking to make sure that they go out of this Champions League on a high. And I do believe that whichever way it's going to go, if, for example, they are given that they'll play the next 2, it will be a jot in their bones. It will give them a lot of excitement. But if it goes against them, again, it will be, motivation in a different way, because they'll be saying, if we're going to be back after a year or 2 years, we better make the most of this particular, scenario in getting through probably and winning the tournament itself. Remember that if they are out for 2 years, it means that certain top performing players like the likes of Kevin De Bruyne might not want to stay at Etihad, not want to go where there's Champions League football. So if they left off as champions, so for them it's a they look at the grand scheme of things. It's not necessarily the quarterfinal, which in my opinion is already done, and dusted. But they are looking at the grander, grand picture, which is either winning it, before they are back for 2 years, or if they do, if they are reinstated for the next 2 years, then they'll be very excited. They'll be high on adrenaline, Manchester City. But as it is, I think, it's anybody's game, really.
Anybody's game. Excellent. All right. Pretty much said with the UEFA Champions League and the Europa League. I hope you did justice.
Well, with the Europa League, United obviously have a second leg, and I was laughing Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and Bruno Fernandes. By the way, for 14 years, Bruno Fernandes, I saw you doing some mocks on some mocking posts on Facebook. Bruno Fernandes has emulated Cristiano Ronaldo already. In 14 years, no Manchester United player has won back-to-back
Player of the Month.
Player of the Month. That's Bruno Fernandes for you. He has hit the ground running.
Is that so?
He went. 17 matches unbeaten.
He won the Goal of the Month as well.
Precisely, Goal of the Month as well.
Yes.
Okay.
You know what, Zamjiran? This guy, when Manchester United is playing, he doesn't watch.
No wonder.
The only time he watches is when they are down.
And he's so busy poking.
Precisely. At the moment they equalize it, he switches off and sleeps and waits for the result. And if he finds that United have lost, then we'll have a field day. But to be honest with you, like the way they played against Aston Villa, truth be told, the penalty should not have been. We are not. We are very
by the way, United have equaled a penalty record, eh?
Yeah, but if you follow them, because they are attacking, because they are slick,
too soft.
They are quick.
Way too soft.
That's the first penalty that was given to United that wasn't deserved.
Precisely.
Go check everything. My United has never had problems with these VAR decisions.
Yeah.
If Rashford should fall in the box, he was hit.
Precisely.
If Bruno should fall in the box, normally he was hit.
Yeah, that's right.
Greenwood has no business diving. He's an absolute animal.
Bruno wasn't hit.
Bruno wasn't hit in that one.
No.
But please, people should stop acting like Aston Villa will have beaten United.
Or
the scores will have changed.
Let's do this. Okay, we take away the penalty.
Thank you.
We take away the penalty. What would be the result?
2-0.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And by the way, I think that they were very lucky because United had a lot of chances.
Yeah.
They could have won by 5-6-0. But back to the Europa, obviously Lashki, the team from Red Bull, from Austria, the Austrian Bundesliga, where Mwepu, and Patson Daka are campaigning. By the way, I'm sure you talked about Patson Daka winning player of the Champions round, not necessarily the season, because what it is there, you have like 2 rounds, the initial rounds, and then the final 6 or so teams go into what is known as the championship round. So Patson Daka was voted as the player of the championship round, and he's already back in the country with Wepu. And by the way, there was a lot of hugs at the airport and people asking social distance. We need to be very careful. Corona has not yet been defeated.
No.
And so even when we are arriving at the airport and so on, those of us who are receiving, people are coming, we need to take care of ourselves.
Meter apart.
But then United play that team from Austria, and if they do get through, they play Lashki, yes, LOA, SK. At Lashki.
Yeah.
If I had the book, Lashki, aba ule ali mfazi yali file shi lash mule ibukisha bakabwe maibukisha bakabwe in fact kule ipo kuno tu asambirila ba kule takwaba uli kabwe whether bakulu munono mukulu ni kabwe mupeti mu grand bonse aikala mu kabwe so huyu ni kabwe so waibukisha kabwe lashki aibukisha kabwe but takwaba iwe tabaishi ba nikuno kuna ba yaikala shira ya muntu bamuzo efe twaishi ba West Africa balela nati bamuzo how are you ba ale tuma wasop alela at Mr. Ba how are you waishi batiba alishina takwa baba itatwa so kulia ngaba ishunjita iwati bamuzo
nangu nakala pa kifulo kunjita vye muzo
kabwe ngawabika ba nishina so kupinda how are you Mr. Ba but then there you have it in terms of champions, I mean Europa League. There's still that chance, outside chance of winning that particular tournament and participating in the next Champions League. So if Man City win their case, United will be looking at either fourth position in the league or going via the route of the Europa League, which somebody who was getting those was calling it the Losers Cup. Losers Cup when he was making the draws and people were very, very upset. But that's what it is really. It's not Losers Cup. It's not a top thing.
It's not a top thing. All right, so talking of fixtures today, the Premier League quite quickly. Gentlemen, Carrow Road sees Norwich at home to West Ham United. The Newcastle United play away to Watford at 13:30 at the Vicarage Road. Anfield sees Liverpool play Burnley. Then Chelsea will be away to Sheffield United at Bramall Lane. Then at the American Express, we'll see Brighton and Hove Albion at home to Manchester City. Sunday sees Wolverhampton Wanderers, the Wolves at home to Everton. Then Crystal Palace play away to Villa. Tottenham play at home to Arsenal at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, 17:30. London derby, this one is, with Mourinho quite early with mind games ahead of this game. For what, really? Leicester City play Bournemouth at the Vitality. Monday sees Manchester United, all right, at home to Southampton. I have to behave myself. I'm surrounded by United fans here, so I really have to behave myself.
By the way, first team in the Premier League era to win by 3+ goals in 4 consecutive matches. That's history. There's no team in the Premier League, Liverpool, Manchester City, Chelsea, ever achieved that. 4, nobody in the Premier League era. Manchester United. This is how Ole Gunnar Seka. No Saladi, Ole Male Seka. Probably what he's on the wheel. Ale is in charge. He's on the wheel. 4 consecutive, 3+.
3+. All right, now, Mr. Zamjirian,
yes,
is this a harbinger of an exciting season ahead for United, 2020-2021, with the way that you guys are waxing all lyrical and on top, literally shouting to the hilt of how you're winning? Is this a harbinger of a good season to come?
It definitely is. I think Bamuzo has done my United justice. I don't really have much to say. I kept echoing I should tell them because we've been breaking so many records.
Champions League places.
Yeah, because we look like we have our midfield sorted. You see, Pogba is a player who makes a good team better. He doesn't carry a terrible team. That's one thing we've noticed from Pogba. We've seen flashes of his greatness, but because the team was so below par, he couldn't raise us to that level.
That's right.
We need to remember Pogba is coming from a midfield of Pirlo, of Vidal, of Kante, of Matuidi. These are quality players that have been surrounded about Pogba. If you want to see the greatness of Paul Pogba, surround him about great players. Bruno Fernandes has been a key that has just unlocked that brethren. And it looks like everything is in the right balance. Matic is at the end of the years, but he looks like one of those midfielders that can play till his 40s. That's right, because he takes the ball ezy, he defends the back line, he doesn't do too much running. So we have the proper balance, and this is what Ole has been trying to build. I would be the first person to say I was one of the first people who criticized him because it looked like he was a coach didn't have too much experience, and we sometimes overbeat on that word experience because you need to try before you gain the experience. Give him time. And I remember having the conversation with Bamuzo. Bamuzo was like, time is what will really tell. That's right. And he has really proved a lot of us wrong. Even Manchester United fans. And it looks like we are just a few players away. We go to Greenwood as
Wow.
a boy assistant.
Wow,
I won't
wow,
talk
wow.
so much on him because I
That's
know he
right.
has things to
Wow.
say.
Mason Greenwood.
But Mason
Mason
Greenwood
Greenwood.
looks like he might even, succeed to higher heights than Marcus Rashford. Because remember that Marcus Rashford came in, also burst into the scene like this, but
That's right.
he's limited because he's a right footer. Mason Greenwood can, score with both feet.
Ambidextrous.
His movements. We need to realize that this boy is actually a striker.
That's right.
Coming from the wing, it just shows, his ability to hold up play, to, defend. I mean, he's done
midfield.
everything Oli has asked for him. And it just looks like the boy has no limits. He has no heights. I mean, England's future is looking so bright. We see Phil Foden, we see, Greenwood, we see Saka from Arsenal. Their young stars are doing very well.
Tammy Abraham.
Tammy
I know
Abraham.
you're divided. Divided loyalties, right?
Yeah,
Who should you play for?
We had a
England or Nigeria?
We had a conversation with Tammy,
Yeah.
but at the point in time, Nigeria wasn't presenting Tammy with something that was feasible. Tammy was in a situation whereby he needed to see direction, he needed to see a future, and we're not ready to give him that at that point in time. So we have to settle with Igalo, who's also a Manchester United player. Although Igalo has retired from the national team, but we look for more players. Just finishing up Manchester United, I would say we have every right to be confident as Manchester United fans. Please let your chest be high. Don't let anybody talk you down. The days of our banter era is over. We're going into next season, one of the most formidable sides. And I think, like I said, maybe just 2-3 players away, because we have our right back sorted as well. De Gea is in and out, but we have this boy in Sheffield United who can come in at any point in time on loan. So I mean, it just looks like Man United have such a future ahead, and hopefully we can be talking about winning the title because we have champions in our midst. We have captains. We have a captain in Pogba, we have a captain in Bruno Fernandes, we have a captain in Maguire. So that leadership on the pitch that I know our guy here has always wanted in Man United. At this point in time, we have that. So it looks the future looks very bright for us.
And talking about records very quickly, also David De Gea succeeded great Peter Schmeichel in terms of appearances for Manchester United. They are moving towards 400. He's moving towards 400 now, isn't it? In that 3-0 win over Aston Villa. So again, it's a United side that is beginning to look very good. Some of the football that they played against Aston Villa, Lorenzo, you shouldn't have switched off your television set. If you're a purist, you'd love to watch that sort of football. Absolutely, because at some point the likes of Jose Mourinho nearly disturbed Manchester United. And by the way, talking about Jose Mourinho and his Tottenham side, they are now 9th. Mauricio Pochettino had taken them last to the Champions League final, and now they're in the danger. Let me say that they will not qualify for Champions League football this time around.
Not even Europe.
And in the game against Bournemouth, would you believe it? They had 0 shot on target.
That's Mourinho.
How many minutes?
That's Mourinho.
112 minutes.
112 minutes.
0 shot on target.
0 shot on target against Bournemouth. And in the previous game, he only had 2 shots on target. It's negative, defensive football. And this is what we were saying when he left. You remember me saying, let us fire him now when he was at Manchester United.
I end the tap.
And when he went to Tottenham Hotspur, this is what we are telling, some Spurs fans that, look, you have bought damaged goods. This guy is no longer the same guy that he used to be. Now he's complaining that he doesn't have players, but he has succeeded in alienating certain players from there who looked exciting. Sessignon is one of them, and Ndombele, is it?
Ndombele,
Absolutely. He's been fighting with those players. That's his usual style, where he comes into a club. And the unfortunate part for Tottenham Hotspur is that he has started his shenanigans earlier than previous clubs. Normally,
and yet he has claimed that he had said he has changed.
And he said he has changed.
But
there's nothing. No. But he said, no, it's in my DNA, to want certain things. And it is clearly showing that his DNA hasn't really changed. His mouth may have changed. By the way, my wife was laughing the other day. We were watching, Blitz, and he was making comments. He says, initially he was talking about the referee, that the guy who is in the middle of the pitch is not the referee. The referee is somewhere else. He is the assistant referee. And this time you were saying, you're asking for the man of the match. There was no man of the match. Maybe the referee. So what you get from Mourinho is his motor mouth, really, and a lot of problems for a lot of money, by the way, that is being paid by Hotspurs. It beggars the question: did they make the right decision in letting the Argentine Mauricio Pochettino
He's
go?
still without a job up to now.
Sorry, can I answer the question?
Uh-huh.
No. That's the answer.
And then Valimukwatila Nkongole, Valimupela Panono Panono, but no COVID-19, he says, no, sir. Can I have my money? You know, they're still owing him. Daniel Levy is known as a shrewd, negotiator. But on this particular one, like the Zamgirian has said, he made a huge mistake. And probably the earlier they realize it, the better.
Yeah.
Wow. Let me run through La Liga fixtures. Last night it was Real Madrid at home to Deportivo Alaves, running out 2 new winners. By the way, Fundis, are you aware that Thibaut Courtois is the first Real Madrid goalkeeper to keep 18 clean sheets in a season for the first time since 1988.
But at some point, at some point, they were saying, no, but these same people, Zamgirian, they were saying we were robbed. I mean, our money, but they were crying. No, but Chelsea, but but number waxing miracle, to borrow from your famous phrase. I think that is a good goalkeeper, the giant, Belgian. He didn't settle in quite quickly.
But he struggled.
He struggled. And obviously, if you get 5 points from the last 3 games, is it? 4 points.
Yeah, just 2 more. Yeah, just two more games.
4 points, absolutely,
from the next
last
2 games.
Absolutely, and then
from the last 3 years.
Last 3, and Real Madrid will be champions. And I think that you have deserved it, really. Largely because Barcelona have been, blowing hot and cold, misfiring. Ansu Fati sent off, in their last match. Lionel Messi, Lubuli, Nabakoki. So at the end of the day, I think that so many issues in the favor of Real Madrid. Absolutely. But the real test will be in the Champions League. That's where
Manchester City.
Precisely. If you're able to get through there, then guess up menina kusaluta salutila wabonse waba Madrid wa white waba Madrid kuletela na mask ya white wabika paka mwanga mawina. But I think that the football has been exciting from the end of Real Madrid. They are looking like a Zinedine Zidane side now. Benzema has been doing some great work, scoring goals, creating assists. He's a totally different player. To imagine that the likes of Jose Mourinho wanted to discard this player. It's incredible.
Him for a long time.
Mourinho is in another level of madness.
All right, so quickly running through the fixtures as we wind up. Osasuna at home to Celta de Vigo. Barcelona away to Real Valladolid this evening at 19:30. Then we do have Atletico de Madrid at the Estadio Wanda Metropolitano playing Real Betis. Kickoff time is 22. Sundays is Espanyol play Eibar at the RCDE Stadium. Then Athletic Bilbao travel to play Levante at the Estadio Camillo Caño. This is at 17 hours Central African time. Then Leganes play Valencia at 19:30. Then Sevilla at the Estadio Ramon Sanchez Pizjuan play at home to Real Mallorca. Monday definitely has quite 3 games on the blockbuster. We do have Villarreal at Estadio de la Ceramica at home to Real Sociedad. Then Getafe will be out to Deportivo Alaves at Estadio de Mendizorroza. This game kicks off at 19:30. Then Granada play at home to Real Madrid at 22 hours at the Nuevo Los Camenas Stadium. So those are the fixtures, pretty much exciting. Peak of the week, look out for the weekend, a minute each. I start with the Zamgirian.
Peak of the week will probably be Patson Daka winning the championship
player.
player. I went on Instagram to look at it, and I love the fact that he put the flag as well. We love to see our African brothers representing us.
That's right. See why you're Zamgirian.
I told you, I'm partly Zambian as well.
That's right.
The blood is there.
The blood is flowing.
I love to see
Wanda is wearing the orange.
I can feel the power.
Wanda is wearing the orange.
Lorenzo as Christian is Zamgirian.
Absolutely.
So seeing the flag there made me proud as an African, and to see that he's doing well. People also doing well, and they came back home. To celebrate, with their family and Zambia as a whole. It's just very encouraging. And for me personally, I would say that's the peak of the week. Look out for the weekend will probably be Manchester United also facing up with Southampton. I think we're drawing close to entering a Champions League solidation, if I can use that word, to solidify ourselves in the Champions League spots, and hopefully Leicester drop some points today, and let's see how this plays out.
Awesome. All right, Andrew, pick of the week. Look out for the weekend in about 30 seconds.
Pick of the week, Lorenzo. I would go with what Emmanuel has said. Patson. It's great that he's flying the Zambian flag very high out there, and I'm sure people have now known that there are some great Zambian players, and hope that with that achievement we will have a number, flocking into into Europe.
Absolutely.
And hope that even they too can go and represent us very well. Look out for the weekend. This is a difficult one, so I'll pass.
You'll pass. All right. Fundisi pick of the weekend. Look out for the weekend.
I think is the truce. Whatever it is, I think that absolutely. I mean, it affected the ban because the ban was going to be incredible. It would have been very tough,
overwhelming. Actually,
it would have been very tough on the football players and everybody in the game, and for Zambia it would have been shameful as well. So I would want to say well done, for everybody, and there's no single winner here. Zambia is the winner.
The game is the winner.
Zambian game is the winner, and every time we are looking at issues, we must put Zambia first, because each one of us will come and go, but Zambia will remain. And we are looking forward to the return of the Super Division, here in Zambia next weekend. Obviously, Manchester United are playing some lovely football. I was shouting, Aston Villa when I went to bed. I was in the sitting because I knew I was going to disturb my madam. Na mamba kona futi ukula punda njebere ine. I'm a soccer fan based. So Manson Greenwood scores. Yes, Manu. You know what I mean? That's what gives us light away from these other issues.
The stresses, life stresses.
Precisely, life stresses.
Football is a tonic.
Precisely, you hear that Chelsea is winning, you go to bed very sad. Them says, please. But you know what I mean? So that's the way it goes. And so we're looking forward to, like Zamjuran said, Manchester United in midweek, and we can only wish everybody in the game the very best. Because at the end of the day, whether you are Chelsea, whether you are Liverpool, Manchester United, Manchester City, Arsenal, whichever team you are, we remain brothers.
Absolutely. Well, it's been an exciting show. We would like to appreciate each one of you that did call in, sending those text messages. It's mejores amigos para siempre. At this juncture, gentlemen, we have to shout and say,
Lights out.